I have a couple questions.
Ask him.
You want to reopen it? I'm sorry.
You want to ask it now because we still have a
I'm not-
couple
If
minutes?
he's going to be here next, I can wait till next month.
You
It's,
can
you know.
ask it now. Go ahead.
Okay, you know, there's been so much testimony, Mr. Gross, about how few people attend the synagogue. You know, that sometimes 40, sometimes 25. There's been a tremendous amount of testimony downplaying the amount of people that are going to go to service or be there at any one time, and always refer to the number of 124. To the extent that in order to encourage families for going to services separately, mothers and fathers going to temple, then the children following, and can you see why there might be some credibility issues, there might be some doubt in some people's mind that if there's so few people attending this, and in all these years of testimony, there hasn't been one movement towards making the building a little smaller, making it blend better into the neighborhood. And I know the answer to the question is, why are you building such a big building? And the answer that has been given is because we can. And so much effort is spent on trying to show that the amount of people is never going to be in excess of 124. So one has to say, well, why such a big building? And I just don't understand how a man of the cloth wouldn't want to compromise with the neighborhood in which I just can't, you know. And by the way, St. Philip's, the ushers have the little clicker. You know, they stand there and click so I don't know if that might help you with your number. But do you understand why people are hesitant?
Yes, and I appreciate the question to clarify, and I think what we've learned, all of us here, is the community is changing. There's a definite gentrification of Orthodox Jewish people moving in, and conservative Jews who have lived there, or Reform Jews, and they operate differently. Yourself, you didn't either understand how a mikveh works. Sometimes you even mispronounce it as a mitzvah, even though we've had a couple of years of mikveh. People tonight still weren't convinced that it's only used on a Friday night, and how do you do that? At the last meeting, you weren't sure how that's possible because women, and you have 4 or 5 in your family, need it throughout the month. So we've had this long education process, and it's very good that everybody here understands how it is that we operate differently from any of the Goldberg's temples. We don't drive, they do. So how is it possible that you don't have what we have? We don't celebrate a bas mitzvah celebration. A girl turns 12, she turns 12. She doesn't lead the services in our Orthodox shul. But in other people, they absolutely do, even in some Orthodox. So therefore, the question doesn't make sense. Why are you different? We are different. And then the question of why not make it smaller, and because we don't have to, because we can, we did in fact make it smaller. We did reduce the footprint of the building. We pulled in from that big room downstairs that everybody was all concerned about. So we did make accommodations. I've asked, what's the size that people are going to stand up here and say, okay? I think we're still dealing with much more fundamental issues. People don't trust what we say, and so there's no negotiation if there's no trust. It's just going to be the same thing all over again. You can fit 124 people in a small house if you really wanted to. So what's the difference there? All we're going to do is, if we make the building smaller, be careful what you wish for, because then we have more room for parking. So what is it? I'm telling you what it is we need, and why it is we fit within the zoning footprint of the building, and people can't get their arms around what it is we've testified to. I'm sorry, but we're not going to be anything different than what we are, but we certainly are going to be something different than what's existed in the Rosemar section of Clifton, although it will be acceptable to the people who are moving into the Rosemar section of Clifton and have.
And the second part of that credibility issue, you know, this application has been here a long time. It's been before the other board as well and into court. And, you know, the chief cook and bottle washer, and I can appreciate your position as president for over 10 years. I don't know if that's an appointed position, an elected position, or nobody else wants it. They say, leave it to Mr. Gross because nobody wants it, and that's often the case. But not to have the rabbi here, and for you know, I don't know, you know, he was here for so many meetings. I think Commissioner Steer asked for a question, and he's not available. You know, it just brings a credibility issue. Like, you know, the rabbi, in my opinion, should be here to say, here I am, this is my congregation, I'm the leader of this congregation, this is what we stand for, and this is, you know, it just has a more flavorful, you know, coming from, I don't know, do you understand what I'm saying? You know,
Everything
I
is-
mean, there's a rabbi, you know, first of all, it's hard for me to believe that nobody's available ever. That's unbelievable. That's just not, that's right there is a credibility issue. Well, I don't know what the rabbi, I mean, you know, I've seen the rabbi here. He seems like a wonderful human being.
This
Yeah,
is cross-examination, I believe.
Oh, yeah, cross-examination. I just think that the rabbi should be here, and I think as a president of the congregation, you should encourage that.
That's an expression of opinion with which I personally disagree. So, and I mean, I will control the witnesses I put on.
Mr. Carlett, excuse me. Okay, does anybody else have any more questions to ask?
You know, can I ask
Okay,
a question? No,
Mayor
I
Insaldi
wanna
has
ask
a question.
because this issue with the rabbi keeps on coming up. What question would any member of this board want to ask the rabbi that has not been answered? Maybe that's a good question for us, for us as members of the board. What question that has not been answered is something the rabbi could answer? I don't know. I haven't seen any yet. I wish there was something, because then I would feel more comfortable about the comments about the rabbi not coming. I don't know.
Madam Chair,
I'm not sure
Commissioner
what the question
Steer?
would be.
since I was the one that was most vocal in asking that the rabbi was here, I'm just disappointed that he wasn't. However, Mr. Gross answered the questions that I would have asked of the rabbi. But I still think it would have been nice for the rabbi to appear when from the very beginning he attended every single meeting that we had until I asked that he be here, and then he stopped coming. That to me was not nice.
Then can we carry this hearing then?
Just to follow up on that, Mayor, I had asked a question last meeting with respect to the mikvah being only open on Friday. Mr. Carlett confirmed that, and I said, how do you know that? And he said, paraphrasing it, the rabbi told me. And I said, that's third-party
But
testimony.
tonight, Ed, somebody asked a question of Mr. Gross. I don't remember who it was, but he's answered clearly.
And it's
Friday nights only, and the 12 holidays if they don't meet on Friday night, if they don't fall on Friday
And
nights.
that's stipulated.
And that's going to be stipulated, no matter what. If it's either way, the resolution is going to be stipulated.
Okay, then can we carry this matter to the April 23rd meeting, 2015, in this room? Mr. Carlett, you
Yes,
waive your consent to
I waived
carry it?
already.
You'll waive your time period through the next meeting?
Yes, I waived it already.
Press to act. Okay, then, members of the public, you are now again being informed that this matter is being carried to the April 23rd, 2015 meeting at 8 o'clock p.m. in this room, and you'll receive no further notice other than the notice you're receiving at this time. Before we adjourn, can we all agree that we'll meet at 6:30 before the next meeting to do the redevelopment for Roche?
Absolutely, we
Okay,
will
so
be here.
You'll receive a reminder about that.
Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Okay, any opposed? 11 o'clock.